fortunes of war can change their way. We imagine our lives will be. The March family are on their way. Make Joe, Meg, and Amy.
Joe, why don't you come to bed?
I'm not ready.
You have to get some rest.
All right, but I can't stop remembering that moron.
Why don't you just forget it?
I don't want to forget.
It wasn't all that bad, was it?
Meg, that man humiliated and insulted me. I'll never forget what he told me for the rest of my life.
How old you say you were?
I'm 15 years old.
I didn't think a 15-year-old could write a novel.
Why not, may I ask?
Why, at 15, you've experienced so little of life.
Yes, but I do have a little imagination.
But a writer needs more than imagination. You have to experience some of the world to write a novel.
Does that mean you won't even read my novel just because of my age?
That's right. I can't imagine it's worth the time it would take to read. Not when the author is a 15-year-old girl like you.
And how might you describe my novel?
We professionals know about such things.
That pig, I hate him! I hate him, I hate him, I hate him!
I didn't realize you'd had such a terrible experience.
Next time I see that man, I'm just going to spit in his face.
My, you can't mean that.
I'll scratch his eyes out.
You'd better get a hold of yourself.
I'm going to show him. I'm going to write a wonderful novel that everybody will love. That'll show him.
There. That's the spirit.
I'm going to be the best novelist in America.
Good for you, Joe.
I'm being very serious.
Joe, I believe you. Now, why don't we get some sleep?
Oh, Meg. I'm too upset to go to sleep yet.
Sleepyhead. Josephine.
Meg, I slept so well.
That's quite obvious, young lady. It's almost time for breakfast, so let's get out of bed.
A Soldiers' Aid Society?
Yes, I have some free time, and I thought there must be something I can do to help the war effort besides sitting home and waiting. It seems like a good idea. My husband is having a very difficult time at the front. I thought it was the least I could do to help.
I certainly wouldn't stop you, but since you asked, I think it's foolishness and stupid.
I think otherwise.
It's because you need money, isn't it?
No, I'm doing it because I can help people who need the assistance.
I still think it's a bunch of foolishness.
Are you going to be attending all of their meetings from now on, Mother?
Yes, Aunt March didn't really approve, but she didn't exactly disapprove either.
Mother's unhappy unless she's helping other people improve their lot in life. That's just the way she is.
How charitable indeed.
You must admit that it's not a bad thing.
No, it isn't bad per se.
Meg, dear,
Yes?
if anyone should come by from the real estate agency regarding the house, let me know.
All right. I promise that I'll come and get you if it's necessary.
They're getting along much better. They're pals, almost.
Yes, they certainly are acting much friendlier to each other.
Bye, Mother. See you soon.
Goodbye, girls.
Yes, come in. Oh, Polly, do be quiet.
How are you today, Polly? Hasn't it been quite some time since this bird's learned some new words, Aunt March?
Yes, it has. Why don't you teach her some new ones?
Are you serious?
Of course I am. I assume since you enjoy writing so much, it would follow that you're also a good reader.
I'd say that I'm pretty good at it.
Then would you be a dear and volunteer to read books to me a portion of every afternoon?
Yes, of course.
My eyesight has deteriorated so here recently that reading has become quite difficult for me.
What book would you like me to read from?
Over there, it's on the table.
The Lectures of Benjamin Bosch Unabridged. Do you like this book much?
I don't have to like a book in order to read it. It's a good book and I find it very helpful.
But how could you read a book that you don't like?
Because it gives me peace of mind. Now please read me the third lecture from the book.
Here it is. If you're ready now, I'll begin.
Yes, go ahead.
This is my third lecture. As I begin, I trust that you will feel warmly touched by what you are about to read. However, there is a warning attendant with this lecture, a caution. You must not tell anyone. The story you are about to hear, for it is intended solely for the readers of this book. You may be impressed and feel an irresistible need to enlighten others, but whatever you do, don't.
Well, that's pretty good.
No, it's very good.
You scared me!
I'm terribly sorry to have startled you, miss. I'm looking for a Miss March. I believe she lives here.
I'm Miss March as well. Amy Curtis March.
I must be talking about one of your sisters. I believe she said she was 15 years old.
Oh, that's Joe.
Well, might she be around? I, certainly would like to see her.
Mm-hmm.
Then he replied abruptly, originally the land belonged to God, so giving it back to the church is quite simply returning the land to its former owner. I have to think about that one. Oh, the lectures are so very informative. Yes? Who is it? Amy. Shh. Huh? Aunt March is asleep, so don't make a
Asleep?
sound.
That's perfect, because you have a gentleman caller.
Who?
Well?
No offense, but I think you should know when I mentioned your name, she almost blew her top.
Oh, is that so? Well, will she see me anyway?
Yes.
That's good news. Thanks a lot. Oh, I forgot. Here's your picture. It's really quite good.
Thanks. I really appreciate it when people say they like my drawings. Thanks again.
I guess we all like to be praised a little. Joe! Hi! You're upset, aren't you? Can't say I blame you. I know I was pretty rough on you yesterday. It was unfair of me to dismiss your writing just because you're young. After you left, I read your work, and I want to tell you what I think. It's really quite good. I mean it. I'd like to give you a complete evaluation of the manuscript if you don't mind.
No.
You bring a completely fresh viewpoint to the subject matter. Now, your family just moved here from near Gettysburg?
Yes, that's true.
I wonder if I could get you to do an interview. Our chief editor believes your personal viewpoint of the Battle of Gettysburg would be quite interesting.
That's nice of him, but I didn't participate directly.
I didn't mean to suggest you had combat experience, but your family was near there?
Yes, but we didn't see it firsthand. Of course, we heard the sounds of battle, like the gunfire and the cannon blasts, for 3 whole days and nights. It was just horrible. The Confederates even set fire to our town. Houses were burning everywhere. And our house was among them, burned by marauding rebels. It still gives me nightmares, so you see, Mr. Boone, I can't really help you.
Please, why don't you just call me Anthony? The fact is, I agree with our editor. I think your story will sell a lot of papers. I want as much information as possible. You have to tell me all you know about the Battle of Gettysburg. Your family's experience will help our readers understand what a terrible fight it was. 100,000 men perished or were wounded.
What? You must be exaggerating the
There were
count.
at least that many casualties if you count both sides. There's never been anything like it. It'll be some time before either army is able to fight again.
My papa was in that battle. I'm glad he survived.
He's a soldier? That means he could provide first-hand information.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to tell me about the battle. Tell me everything you remember.
You promise you'll print my story?
Absolutely. Let's begin. I'm going to take a few notes.
Well, everything started happening around June the 15th. Father had returned from the front lines just the day before that. We were so happy to see him home safe and sound. But on our picnic that day, we ran into Johnny Reb. Gee, this is going to take some time to tell. Maybe we should both go inside.
Sure.
Joe and Anthony were no longer having difficulty getting along with each other.
Can you write a story from that? Let's see. I'm thinking maybe you might need some more detail.
Occupation by rebel marauders, a runaway black man being hidden in the cellar. This just couldn't be any better.
Guess so.
Ah, and the part about the house getting burned down, and the black man, Sam.
Not Sam. John is his name.
Of course.
Anthony, may I ask you a question?
Sure, ask away.
I was just wondering about your opinion.
I think we can print it as a two-part episode. It has human interest and suspense. It's brief and easy to grasp. I think readers will love it.
I'm talking about my novel, not my experiences in Gettysburg. My work's never been read by anybody else. You're the first person I've ever shown it to. Anthony, I want your honest appraisal of my writing.
My opinion hasn't changed much. I'm not saying that you don't have a talent for writing because I do see potential.
I worked on it for a very long time.
That shows in the writing, but it's quite different from what a novel should be, in my opinion. Today you told me stories about many of your personal experiences. You described them quite brilliantly. I think you should write your novel exactly the way you speak. Describing things simply and getting to the point as quickly as possible will vastly improve your writing. And tell us about the things you know instead of making so much up.
What you really mean is I'm a horrible writer and my story's terrible. Is that it?
Well, the story is rather hard to believe.
Hard to believe!
Yes, afraid so. Think about it. A princess, a bad pirate, a secret love affair, and then you had to throw in a duel. And don't forget Mother's untimely death. Can't say I believed even one word.
It's supposed to be a fantasy adventure.
A novel can be interesting without resorting to an unbelievable plot.
You've made your point. My story, my plot, my characters, you didn't like anything, did you?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Very well, then. Would you mind giving me back my manuscript, please?
I'd be glad to, but my editor's reading it. Oh, I nearly forgot. He said he'd like to see you at your earliest convenience.
Huh? How could you almost forget about that?
It's about the ad you placed. I think he's found a job for you, Joe.
That's very strange. The advertisement hasn't appeared in the paper.
I may be mistaken, but I don't think so. Well, he said he wanted to see you, that's all I know.
Tell him I'll be by to see him later.
Just one more thing before I go. It's a little unsolicited advice about writing a novel. Use personal experience, about things you've heard, events for which you have actual feelings. That's the most realistic writing you can do.
But familiar is dull and boring. I'm not sure about that. No.
Joe, it's really a good way for you to begin. I recently finished reading a story written just that way.
Oh, and I suppose the story's simple.
It's all about a man and his prized frog. He enters the frog in a jumping competition. His goal is to make a lot of money from the wagers he expects to win. The frog loses the competition, and then this fellow loses all of his money. The story is simple, very well written, and good. Bye.
Who's the author? Aren't you going to tell me the author's name?
Well, I'd never even heard of him before reading this short story. He has a funny-sounding name that's easy to recall. Name's Mark Twain. That's sure a funny-sounding name, isn't it?
Mark Twain. I'll read him.
It's a funny story. It'll make you laugh. Goodbye, Amy. See you later. Thanks.
Bye. Nice meeting you.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, who was that?
He's the reporter at the Newport Times.
What, the book critic?
The same.
Oh, really? Well, so did you hit him?
Mm-mm.
And you're not going to tell me you spit on him?
You're right.
Why not? You were ever so angry with him.
He took the time to give my novel a careful reading. And he gave me a critique.
You mean he liked the book?
Not at all. He said it was a terrible book.
How very unfair of him.
Yes. I am angry, but I can forgive him. Frankly, I don't think he knows too much about literature from the things that he said.
Tell me, how can you be so sure?
I'm not, but he did tell me the name of my rival.
You have a rival?
He said the writer's name is Mark Twain.
Mark Twain is a man's name.
Mm-hmm. According to him, I'm the worst writer in the world, and this Mark Twain is the greatest storyteller since paper was invented.
What? I'm sure you're a much better writer than Mark What's-his-name.
Mm-hmm. I can write as well as any man.
That's the spirit. Show some spunk.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going, Joe?
To the newspaper office.
We'll be right back.
Joe, the man who was here today said that he liked my drawing.
He knows very little about literature, and I imagine he knows even less about art. So I would take everything he says with a grain of salt.
Oh, what a shame. I can't believe him if he doesn't know anything about art.
Well, if you have no objection, I'd like to keep your manuscript. I've only read half of it, and I need a few more days to get through it.
Please, sir, take all the time that you need to finish it.
Thank you so much. I'm finding it quite fascinating.
You really mean that?
Yes.
I don't think Anthony agrees.
Whatever he said is just Anthony's point of view.
Huh.
Every reader's entitled to their own opinion. I think one thing, he thinks another.
Oh, you don't know how happy that makes me feel.
Mm-hmm. Say, I'd be glad to drop it off when I'm finished with it.
I can't wait to hear your comments. But the reason we came by was to ask you to run the advertisement. For what, 3 days?
That's fine.
Hold on, you don't have to do that. In fact, that's why I asked you to come by and see me. Right after you left yesterday, someone came in and placed an ad for a nursery governess, and I thought your sister might be the right person for the job.
Oh! Meg, this is wonderful.
Yes.
The people placing the ad are lucky. I believe you can be a big help to them, no doubt about it.
You mean we don't have to pay for the advertisement that we placed with you yesterday?
Forget about it. It's free. I'm putting it on the house. Anyway, didn't Anthony interview you about your experiences near Gettysburg?
I talked hours. He said it was a good story.
My way of saying thanks. Now, here's the address of the King family. I want you to go and see them.
It's beautiful. Just what one would expect from the richest banker in Newport.
I can handle it from here. Thanks a lot for coming with
What?
me.
I'm going in there with you.
Joe, would you hire a governess who brought her baby sister along? It would be pretty unprofessional.
I guess you're right.
Joe,
Yes, Meg?
do you think I'm doing the right thing? You don't think being a governess to someone is undignified, do you? I mean, it's honest work and we need the money.
Silly, don't worry about it. You're doing the right thing.
Well, wish me luck, will you?
Good luck, Meg.
I'm so nervous. I hope this dress is presentable. Well, ready or not, here I go.
Oh, hello, Meg. Well, fancy meeting you here. And what brings you to the King home? I come here quite often, being a very close friend of Mr. King's son, you know. I didn't know that you were acquainted with them.
May I help you, madam?
Yes, thank you. My name is Miss March. I'm here to see Mrs. King about the governess position.
I'll tell her you're here. Please, do come in. I'm sure she'll see you directly.
Thank you.
Well, what do you know? She's applying for a job.
So Meg's going to be a governess, hmm?
I'm going to get a job too, Mother.
I really do appreciate you both.
I'd hoped to be able to earn money writing stories, but that seems to be impossible to me right now.
Nothing's impossible.
Oh-ho. Yeah, there! Hello, ladies. Can I give you a ride someplace?
Not on your life. We'll walk, thank you very much. Isn't that right, Mother?
Uh-huh.
I see. Well, have a good morning, then. Yeah! Oh, by the way, I just left Meg at the King home. It appears she was applying for a job. I had no idea you were so hard up. Ta-ta, ladies. Well, well, well.
I hate that man.
David spoke the truth. Meg got the job as the King family governess, and when I offered to look for a job too, Marmee said I should study hard instead. So that's what I'm going to do from now on. Fortunes of war